Legion Remix, outdoor progression, why heroic world tier is almost a huge win. This heroic world tier thing has me very interested because I've always been an outdoor world content enjoyer. I think one of the best parts about World of Warcraft is the world itself. Even things like World PvP, Winter Grasp, I always love that stuff. I thought that's what made the game feel alive. So I am interested to see what this whole new heroic world tier is all about. Let's see why it is almost a huge win here from Soul So Breezy.
Hey, it's Soul with the last Legion Remix feedback video I can squeeze in before this second trial ends. This is one part overview, one part feedback, one part trash talk, and it's all just fun and games. Heroic World Tier is a very interesting addition to the remix when the expectation of the remix is to eventually destroy everything and never feel that threat of death.
Yeah.
This feature is meant to kind of stretch out that whole eventually part, but also be a more effective path towards...
Look, remix events are fun, but one reason why I'm interested in Heroic World Tier is I feel like Blizzard uses the insanity of remix events to actually test some stuff out, right, for the real version of retail. And that's why I think like maybe Heroic World Tier could be something we eventually see in the retail game, which is why I want to know more about it.
Heights of power and satisfaction after getting over that hump, at least I hope. Please like this video if it's useful, subscribe for more WoW coverage, and catch me where I'm live. There are two versions of Heroic World Tier, and that is before and after you hit max level. You'll catch me interchanging between both versions as I give my overview and feedback. We can access Heroic right at the very start of the remix with our cute level 10 characters with that adorable item level and like nothing else. You'll get a quest to guide you through this, but you'll also be introduced to a console over in the hub where all the fun remix stuff takes place. Use this to turn Heroic on or off and you're good to go. And just in case, you're also given a temporary ability to deactivate Heroic if you happen to be out on the field and you just can't swing it. So what actually happens in the Heroic World Tier? From regular mobs to elites to the world boss even, health across all outdoor creatures goes way up. They get super spongy.
Oh wow, yeah, that's pretty
Damage
damn
from
big.
bad guys also goes up.
It's going from like almost 3k to 15k health. Oh.
But not in such a dramatic fashion. My research is limited during these trials, but item level scaling is also in place, adding something like 40 or 50% more to mob health as you gear up, and I'm not certain where this scaling ends. Now, don't get your pitchforks out just yet, though. The world scaling is mostly...
That's millions, sir? Oh, yeah, I'm misreading it. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right. This is... No, 15k. Well, what are you talking about? Millions.
Though. The world scaling is mostly designed for when your gear isn't caught up to your level for some strange reason. When it's more or less even, your damage is just nasty, and the long and short of it is you won't notice the scaling as long as you're putting a minimum effort into dealing damage, like using that snazzy artifact ability of yours and using like a one-button rotation. But there's even more to Heroic. Throughout Legion's outdoor content, you'll find certain affixes on mobs, identifiable with colored markers and buffs on their
15k is 15,000. Well, why are we all tripping? 15 million and 50. There's a difference between 15 million and 15,000. What is it? What are you guys trying to teach me today? 15,000? What? Read it again. Oh my God. All right, what? I'm just trying to figure out the scaling here. 15,000. If I have $15,000, that does not mean I have $15 million. What are you talking? Those are two different numbers. 150? What? It's not 15k. It's because the k here. Yeah, I'm not understanding. I'm not understanding. 15k, bud. 15. The k Utard say, is it because because they're putting the k here? This is not an actual number. This is the k on top of that number. Yeah, okay, times 1,000. Okay, now I got it. All right, I got it. The K is multiplying this number by 1,000 because probably displaying this number on the health bar itself would be ridiculous to actually show like 1,000,000 health in the little indicator window there. Okay, I got it. My bad. All right, I see now.
Throughout Legion's outdoor content, you'll find like a one-button rotation. But there's even more to Heroic.
Numbers are hard.
Throughout Legion's outdoor content, you'll find certain affixes on mobs, identifiable with colored markers and buffs on their nameplate that, at the very least, buff health. And here's what I've seen so far. Engorged makes the mob explode on death, dealing heavy damage unless the mob is killed while crowd controlled. Fellraiser gives even more health than normal, but it can be suppressed with crowd control. Beacon of Chaos is probably the most troublesome. It lets these mobs summon additional demonic mobs periodically and can threaten to overwhelm you.
No, that can,
And
that can get
Imperious is an
overwhelming.
enemy party buff that increases surrounding mobs' damage. Also, some mobs can have multiple buffs on them, or even all four because, of course, and these buffs are kind of indiscriminate. You'll see them on neutral mobs, sometimes
Oh, so is this guy 4 buffed right now? Is each of these an indication of a buff? That's cool. So you got the little crystal up there that indicates one, then you got this arrow, then you got each of these 2 orbs.
saw them on NPCs that don't even
So this
get
guy's
into
4
combat.
buffed.
Leveling in Heroic World tier, especially solo, is to court death. Early on, before you have artifact perks or even a proper class toolkit, navigating Heroic is going to feel like vanilla WoW, where you want to be careful how you pull at pretty much all times, and the affix mobs are like burly elites. The game knows you're going to die eventually.
It's funny that he says it's like vanilla WoW, because I remember playing vanilla back when it was a thing, and yes, like every pull you had to be careful. If you could only pull what you wanted to pull, and if you overpulled, it was an instant death, and you had to like eat and drink between every pull too, which was why leveling up as a mage was fantastic back then, because if you could craft your own food and water, that was a big one, because you used to spend all your money on food and water back then. But this is a cool like iteration. It's almost like it brings you back to classic to make mobs actually scary again. That's why I think this stuff could be viable. Doesn't Diablo do something like this? I haven't played Diablo like since Diablo 2. I just dabbled in it a little bit. But doesn't Diablo have like world tiers or something that like makes the world more difficult? I think Blizzard's kind of pulling from that tech into WoW at this point. You guys could correct me if I'm wrong. Wait, what? He sold them and had the I don't know what the hell. Not just yes. Okay, they do. Yeah, so they do have that. Yeah, interesting. So I think that's what Blizzard's pulling from. They're pulling from the Diablo tech and putting it in WoW.
Eventually, which is why you have that power to turn off Heroic. And when you die, talking to the Spirit Healer lets you both res there and deactivate World Tier because, well, you're a punk. The trade-off is while in Heroic, you get boatloads more experience from kills, 5 times the amount you normally get, on top of whatever XP multiplier you built up. I know for me, dying really messes with the groove, so I wouldn't suggest leveling in Heroic as if it's going to be faster. My opinion, Heroic while leveling is best experienced with a few friends, so you can watch each other's backs, or at worst, die in unity. But hey, some people might want to play a sort of Legion hard mode.
Yeah, like a heroic world tier probably would be fun in a group, right? It'd feel like you're creating like a fellowship, right? You're running off on an adventure and the whole world is extremely dangerous, they could kill you, but if you're in a group together, it probably would be fun. This would be a cool way to do like a group world content.
Here in the remix, and maybe that's why Heroic is accessible right from the start, as opposed to being just a max level only sort of feature. I mentioned experience, but what you also get from Heroic mode are more of the remix specific resources to help you succeed.
Oh, you get
so
more
that's
bronze,
more bronze
okay.
to buy cosmetics,
Yeah.
more infinite power to juice up your weapon, and more mementos to raise your stamina and survive as you take on greater challenges. With the remix as is, though, I'd still
I could definitely see this heroic world tier becoming a way to really boost your weapon at the very end. So this, what's it called? Infinite power or whatever. That's the thing that you'll be using to finish out your map, your tree on your weapon, right? That weapon's going to empower you. It's like the cape worked in Mists of Pandaria Remix. But at the very end of the weapon tree, there is a node that you can just infinitely, continually increase your power. So I think once you get to a certain point where you're honestly starting to reach God level tier of power, you could probably turn on this world tier, get even more of this infinite power, and then just go off on that final button. Just continually build up, and really go like full on God, which is what you want to do. In a remix event, I want to be a walking, living God at the very end of it. I just want to feel so empowered that I could pull an entire zone and absolutely face roll it. So that's what this world tier would be very useful for, actually. I'm kind of thinking this will be fun as an endgame content thing.
recommend saving Heroic tier for when you hit max level. One of the critiques of the MUP remix was that world content felt really limited and not very rewarding without super degenerate effort. Mobs were rolling over to the point where it was too easy for someone to camp an area and basically deny anyone else from hanging out there. It made running dungeons and raids feel like the only way to easily power up, especially thanks to the dailies that directed players there. And for people who preferred to play solo, that left a bitter taste in their mouths as they struggled through their path to soloing efficiently, or they just gave up and let themselves get carried in groups. Hearing that stat farming wasn't going to be like how it was in the MOP remix quickly became a concern for those looking for that power fantasy here in the Legion remix.
Yeah.
Yes, there's an infinite power trait, but in its current form, it's not impactful to the point where I would consider it a bug, or maybe just an unpolished feature that didn't quite make it in time for the
Oh, really?
PTR.
That
It's
would
also very
stink.
important to point out that, unlike the mob remix, trash mobs inside instances, as in raids and dungeons, they're not a viable source of bronze or character power-ups. Coupled with the current state of power progression, it quickly led people to conclude, oh, okay, I guess Blizzard hates gamers and they're forcing us to group, screw the whole solo fantasy. I don't disagree with that feeling, but we also gotta lay everything out on the table here in the Legion remix. Heroic World tier at max level is big enough to be a full-on progression path in the Legion remix, because
Cool.
here, on top of dailies from Eternus, we got world quests, we have emissaries, and more. These are in play to give solo folk a greater flow of rewards, and not just during this first.
We have a realm to
Suki.
destroy.
Suki, thank you for the follow, man. Welcome to our skirts. Get that G
First
fuel.
phase. Later on, Legion assaults and all that Sentinex stuff and those Argus invasions, that's going to fill the plate some more. Outdoor content is much less stagnant in Legion versus Mists, and with Heroic in mind, the whole power fantasy and rise to power, it has the potential to be fully realized out here too, almost exclusively. Given some changes and tweaks we hope to see at least, Legion's total plate of content, including the raid and dungeons, it's massive compared to Mists of Pandaria.
Nice.
Here's what's key to making this happen. At max level, the boxes earned from completing quests and similar content award special tokens like these that,
Okay.
when combined, turn into epic gear. And this is the primary way
Cool.
of gearing up in the remix. We should also expect new versions to come out as we go from phase to phase. While in Heroic tier, empowered mobs also have a chance to drop these items. So
Oh,
even after
nice.
exhausting daily and world quest content, you can count on hunting empowered mobs anywhere in the world for continued upgrades.
See, this is what's nice about this feature is, well, I mean, nice and not nice, because degen's gonna degen this shit, but it creates an infinite grind that you can just continually do to try to get gear, right? If any random mob in this empowered world is, or this heroic tier of world content is gonna drop gear, or could drop gear for you, then it creates like this thing, yeah, where after you've completed every, raid and instance and you've done all the things for the week, you can literally just turn on Heroic World tier and just start grinding down mobs. If you got the time to do it and you want the gear, you could just run around and try to get the gear, which is always, I think, a good option to have in an MMO. Like an infinite grind, while giving infinite power could lead to issues. We saw that in Legion, the original release of it. But giving people an infinite way to grind out some gear, especially at a remix event like this, could be a really fun way to just pass the time. Just run around trying to kill some mobs in a hard mode.
Setting the infinite trait aside for now, this is the equivalent of farming up threads in the mob remix. So now the Legion remix potentially shines under a different light. Those empowered mobs with the icons, they're now like, hey, come and get it for a regular flow of gear that slowly raises character item level
Yeah,
on
that's
top
cool.
of the bronze and all the stats. Later on, how will Legion assaults or the Sentinex thing or the invasion points, like what'll that be like? How many empowered mobs will you run into while going through the motions of world quests and dailies? And then finally, once we go into instances, what's going to happen there? So here's kind of what a day in the Legion remix will be like. You pop in and visit the hub. There's a free accessory to pick up each day because I guess the game's just being really nice.
Cool.
You'll visit Eternus to choose a number of quests you want to complete, either indoor or outdoor, and you can sort of adjust your preferences. And then we can start clearing the map, fulfilling outdoor objectives we picked up or taking a look at world quests and emissaries to complete for boxes. Littered all over the place are empowered mobs and rares and treasures to pick up if you're not already distracted from like flying objects to crash into. And there in that juicy center is Suramar with dense
Oh my
packs and
God.
elites that'll chew you up at least for a while before you're damaged out.
I didn't think about this, but empowered Suramar is going to be insane. Now, what would be really fun is by the end of Legion Remix, if you've really just played through this content constantly, you've really empowered your tune to a crazy level to just go through and literally purge that city. Oh my God, how much fun would it be to just purge the city of Suramar on an empowered level, just going fully out, like all out. The game has never seen a player this powerful mode. That would be fun.
Cases whatever they can do. Unfortunately, there are still a few question marks. Blizzard acknowledged the current feedback that the whole solo fantasy I'm trying to sell you is too far out of reach, and we'll see how that plays out, and more importantly, how they continue to react once this goes live. We've only seen one of the 3 phases of the remix, so we don't know what the full vision
Could be a
is.
stream event,
And
yeah.
the infinite trait I mentioned earlier just really sucks right now. It appears intended to serve the purpose of stat farming after we're unable to raise our item level any higher, and these items are no longer useful. But as it is right now, it doesn't offer much benefit at all. Beyond tuning and balancing of artifact traits, the infinite trait is what's really holding the Legion remix back, in my opinion. Fortunately, again my opinion, making adjustments here is all it takes. I want to end this by bringing up some stats, especially since the trial's about to end. On the character I did the most testing on, I clocked in 3 days and 15 hours played, which is not accurate at all. I spent lots of time away from the keyboard, I was using this character to get specific footage,
Nice.
I spent a whole lot of time trying to clear dungeons solo, I AFK'd a lot more, and so on and so forth, but that's what I've got. And in the meantime, I farmed...
I mean, this whole like iteration of things to do, it sounds fun. It does. It sounds like a good time, and it sounds like it'll be a nice way to fill in those gaps right now with retail. The thing that I'm trying to think about is how these empowered world tiers could actually enter the real game, and I think it could work if it's only held to like a zone. Like you can empower a specific zone and just run through there. I don't know if they could. They certainly could not allow an infinite power grind. That would never be allowed in retail ever again post Legion, because Blizzard found out, and they said this in Legion, that they never expected your artifact weapons to get to the level that people actually grinded them out to. They underestimated the degeneracy of the WoW player base. That's exactly what they were saying, basically. So coming out, that'll never happen. Now, what you could have in the game, I don't know, some sort of challenge mode for some kind of currency for cosmetics or mounts or something, maybe something like that, where you empower a world tier for a specific zone, and then you could run around and try to grind out currency or whatever to try to get a specific mount or a piece of gear for transmog purposes, not for actually player empowerment.
Up about 300,000 bronze. That's enough to buy everything off the class mount and the exclusive ensemble vendors. Now there is a lot more to farm for, but for the time I spent in here, I think I got a lot out of it. My hopes are that Blizzard's continuing to collect feedback and will handle the most pressing concerns. In my opinion, right now, it's the infinite trait. Make that feel like a good contributor for the power fantasy.
The infinite trait is what's
everything
what we
else
hunt
will
for
kind of
remix.
start falling into place. But I'm sure they're looking at more improvements too. That's my feedback, but it's only my feedback. Share your thoughts in a comment. Like this video if it was helpful, subscribe for more WoW coverage, catch me live, and I'll catch you later. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.
This will be fun. I'm excited to play a Blood DK and Legion remix, and yeah, I do want to get to a point where I can purge the city of Surabar. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make it happen. I'll do it live on stream. It'll be a good time for sure. A lot of killing, a lot of death. Nice video from Soul So Breezy.